faith and hope is the light that leads us from the impossible to the possible. Welcome to the 𝐼'mPossible radio show. Good morning. Welcome to another episode of the 𝐼'mPossible radio show with your girl, Lady J, right here on JQLM Radio, a division of Ego Entertainment Network. So before I introduce my special guests for today, let's get the formalities out of the way. If this is your first time tuning into the show or JQLM Radio and you would like to share with your family, friends, and followers on all the different ways that they can tune into the show, be sure to tell them to download the JQLM Radio app on their Apple or Android devices. You can also listen to JQLM Radio via Alexa or TuneIn app or Stream a Simple Radio app and a host of other platforms, which you can find on our website, where you can also listen live at www.egoentertainmentnet.com. Also, don't forget to follow, like, and share us on social media at JQLM Radio on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And for Ego Entertainment Network, you can follow us at �EgoEntNet. That's �EgoEntNet on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And you can follow us at Ego Entertainment Network on LinkedIn. You can follow myself, Lady J, on Facebook at Lady J Brand. You can follow me on Instagram at ladyj.co. That's ladyj.co. You can follow me on LinkedIn under Lady J. You can also follow the 𝐼'mPossible Radio Show on Facebook at 𝐼'mPossible Radio Show and on Instagram at 𝐼'mPossible Radio. And to learn more about me, Lady J, what I do, all the different brands, products, and services that are available to you, visit www.ladyj.co. That's ladyj.co. Now, let's get into it. I am so happy to have you all here with me on today with my special celebrity guests on today. Yes, I have two guests for today, and they are a married couple. And they are the producers of a new show coming to Fox TV called Second Chance Saves Lives. And let me tell you, it's not just a television show. They do so much work with all different types of people that have found themselves in, let's say, hard places in life, between a rock and a hard place. And they are just needing a second chance at life. And so what they're doing with this company, with this show, is absolutely amazing. So let's find out a little bit more about our guests, Tiffany and Paul Nutall, the, of course, executive producers of Second Chance Saves Lives, which is coming to Fox TV. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us. Thank you for having us.
I'm so excited to have you both here. I love your story. It's awesome and amazing. And we've had a chance to chat one-on-one. And let me just say, you all, these are my new best friends, my new best friend couple. Okay. So we're going to start with, before we get into your story, we're going to start first with tell us a little bit about where you both are from and a little bit about your background. Like, where did you come from?
I'm from originally born and raised in San Antonio, Texas. A little bit about my background. When I was small, growing up with a mother of 9 kids, we kind of separated. She separated 4 and left 5, and then 2 left, and it was just 3 of my brothers. I was an outstanding football player when I was at the Highlands High School. I was also renowned 3-time world kickboxing champion at the age of 21. I was a gang unit officer as well. During that time, my family disowned me, and then I went to Michigan, basically, for a boxing career. But growing up in the life of San Antonio, Texas was a great thing, and being around people like Sean Elliott, Selena, the singer Selena, and there's people like that was always around. I was familiar with. Yeah, that's part of the story. So I'm gonna let my wife take the other side.
So I was born in Zamboanga, Philippines. My grandma went there and rescued me, I like to say, and brought me to the States where I lived a little bit in Kentucky, then moved to East LA in California, where I grew up. And a little more about me is that been through a lot in my childhood. Growing up, I was very athletic, and I was really into my studies. I would say that I grew up being a loner. I had some friends here and here, but always felt like I was not included. But I know that was a divine plan and purpose for God to lead me in that direction, to focus on what He has me doing now. Everything that I've been through was predestined for Him to prepare me for what I'm doing now, which is producing our TV shows that change the world.
Awesome, awesome. So, Second Chance Saves Lives originally started out as a mission to help those who had been wrongfully incarcerated.
No.
Correct?
No, incorrect. Second Chance Saves Lives was first started off with fallen celebrities. That's what that was.
Okay.
That mission was about. And
all right.
When I met my wife, when we was doing some shows like the reality show, we became best friends. She reached out to me, actually had dinner together, and she stated to me that I think we should change this. It's just not fallen celebrities that need a second chance; it's the people around the world that need a second chance. So, that being said, I changed the concept, and then it became Second Chance Saves Lives.
Okay. All right. So, but this stemmed from your own personal story of being wrongfully convicted. So let's start there. So, Paul,
yes,
you were wrongfully convicted for a crime that you did not commit.
Correct.
And so, before we get into a little bit about how you kind of escaped, conviction at first, or being charged, or indicted or brought in to the courts, can you give us a little bit of background as to what led up to you being arrested in the first place?
I was on Yahoo email, and I was doing some work on Yahoo and stuff like that, sending emails out to individuals. When I came across an email that stated that if you need a job, give me a call and stuff like that. And it was just email with all these questions and things like that. So that kind of interested me to open it up. Once I opened that email up, it was a person from out of the country. I already knew it because the last name didn't match, the names. I figured that maybe he's from Africa or something like that.
Right.
I responded and said I didn't need a job, anything like that. I'm okay. I told him what I was doing, and he came back and says, hey, listen, I got some kids that I need you to teach boxing to, since you're a boxing instructor. Can you tell me more on that? And so I didn't really want to talk too much on the internet, but I told him that I can give you, a little example. I trained with Chris Bird, the heavyweight champion of the world. I helped him, prepared him actually to be Evander Holyfield for the IBF heavyweight championship. I was the only sparring partner. Also was a sparring partner for Hasim Rockman. So he looked these individuals up and saw, that I was basically telling the truth. So he so I have some kids, and this is where the scam came in, because I love to, like I said, at that point in time, I was at the juvenile home with kids and things like that, counseling them, also teaching them boxing as well, and I was running the place. But at the same time, I just love kids, and so he put that in my. He knew where I worked at, because I also told him that as well. He asked me that if I want to train like 18, I think it was 18 to 15 kids or something like that. And fortunately, I want to get paid for it before I go out of the country to train these kids in Nigeria, not knowing anything about the Nigerian scam, not knowing anything about Nigeria, period. Just knowing it's a great country. I stepped up to the plate and told him, yeah, I would train these individuals, but I got to get paid a certain amount of money. So he offered that I will pay you 50 grand for these individuals. And I said, okay, well, I think I need a little more because, my time was valuable, basically going out there. Then at that time, they had so many diseases that was going on and stuff like that. And I need to take shots and all these things. So, and then getting my passport and all these things to get prepared to go to the out of the country to train these kids, not knowing what I was getting myself into. You know, anybody can kidnap you and anything. I was thinking about all kinds of things that wasn't going to be correct. So I signed some contracts with him. He's sending back and forth, and it looked like it was legit. They had the stamp, seal, and things like that from the governor and all these things like he said they had to have before they bring anybody across the country. I checked into it and found out that it was true. So what I did is I said, okay, well, I'll train these kids, but I need the money first. You know, half now and half when I get there. So he sent it to complete the whole check, and it was $150,000. And I said, well, you know, that's kind of too much, but maybe he want to add some more kids. I didn't really know, you know. So I went to the Citizens Bank, which is a Federal Reserve Bank. I knew the bank manager said she put a hold on the check. Actually, she asked me, I think you should put a hold on this check. You know, so I'm gonna correct myself. I didn't ask her. She asked me. I'm gonna put a hold on the check to make sure it's real. Because if it's not, then you're responsible for this money. I said, okay.
Right.
So she put a hold on the check, and we kept in contact. He gave me his phone number, so then I got I think it was Southwestern Building or something like that. I got some kind of where I can call, you know, internationally, and it don't cost that much money. So I was calling him internationally. He would call me. We would talk on the phone numerous of times. We built a big rapport together. I trusted him. He trusted me. So I thought he was legit. And so I guess that was the biggest scam he ever did, because he called me and asked me, had the check clear yet? Because I think that we're going to do it earlier than expected. So I want to make sure the check cleared. 2 weeks later, I called, and it was more money in the bank account than I expected. At that time, you can call, and then the information that you put it'll tell you how much money you got in the bank. And I think it tells you that right now, too. So, so, hey, it cleared. So I'm thinking like, I don't know, man, let me go. So I went to her, the bank manager, and she stated to me that, yes, if it's clear, that means it's a good check. Congratulations. I said, okay. So I told him it cleared. I told him I was getting ready to prepare to come down there. Just give me the dates and times. And he said, okay. Then all of a sudden, you know, he came back and said, 10 kids dropped out. So I'm going to need you to return some money, you know. Now, if I was a thief, if I wasn't to have a good heart, I was like, nah, I'm not doing nothing. You out of the country. You here, you know. But, you know, I had a good heart. And for the kids, I talked to the kids on the phone. He let me talk to every kid that was going to be involved in this boxing program that we was going to get started in Nigeria. And then all of a sudden, I had to send the money back. So he says, okay, you need to send it to this and this and this. And I asked him, why would you want me to send to different places? He said, this is where the kids are, and they're sending it back to their parents in their bank account. And so I believed that. So, you know, I was like, okay, that sounds reasonable, you know. So I went on and sent the money back to different, you know, in Nigeria in different cities. And so he said, but you still have 8 kids or 7 kids, I kind of remember, it's between that number, that you still can train. And I said, okay, you know, I just let me know the time and the date. So I kept that part of the money and sent the rest through wire and transfer through my bank through different cities in Nigeria. Right at that point in time, 2 months passed by, and then I got a call from Citizens Bank. They left it on my answer machine. And, you know, back in the days, we had answer machines and telephones. We had staggered cell phone, but I used my job as a cell phone. But I heard the voice message said, you need to come back to the bank. And I already knew right then and there. I said, something's up. I got there, and the Secret Service was there. Brian Gibson, the bank manager, and another agent. And they said, you have fraudulent activity going to the bank, and this check was fake. So,
So when a lot of people would say, you know, well, you should have knew that was a scam if they were having you send it to different accounts, even though it wasn't like offshore accounts or things of that sort. And knowing that he's the one that collected it from the parents, so why is it not your responsibility to send that money back? So for those who may be asking that type of question, you know, or may say, hey, you know, you have you're a college graduate, you know, you have a master's degree, you as a business owner, like, how could you not know that? What would be your response to them? Because I know a lot of people are probably like, what? How did you not know?
Well, at that time, I had a lot of stuff on my mind. I still had to train with Chris, get him prepared for another fight. I still had to, you know, go where my contract states, and I still had to do the kids, take them to court, also in the mornings to go back to their families and stuff like that if they finish the program. So I had a lot of things on my plate at the time. But my mind wasn't even right. But at the same time, I believed them because, again, you can build a rapport with someone. But I would say watch out for signs like don't mess with other people out of the country. Unless you go to them and you know for a fact that these are business people that you can look up on the internet or something like that. And you can kind of do some business with them. But when it comes to Nigerian, they got like 90% scammers. You know, and every time somebody hit me up from Nigeria, I tell my wife, I'm like, I don't want to take that call. Because I feel that I'm not saying everybody in Nigeria is bad, but I'm saying most of the country, even they said it when they put them out there on ABC and CBS, most of them are scammers. But at the same time, I didn't know. You know, again, I had a heart for kids. So I wanted to teach these kids boxing. And after talking to them, you know, different names, I want to know the culture. I fell in love with them, you know.
Right.
That if
Exactly.
I taught them boxing, you know, I trained Chris, maybe they could say, hey, look, this guy he trained Chris, and they come to us, you know. I want to become like inspirational to the kids. You know, America came out there to train them boxing that helped Chris Bird. I mean, everybody knew Chris Bird. You know, he beat Evander Holyfield. Everybody knew him around the world. So he was a renowned champion. So, you know, everybody knew Floyd Mayweather. You know, they knew we talked about little Floyd, and I knew Floyd Mayweather. So at that time, you know, I just wanted to be out there with these kids. You know, a lot of kids, they have hope in the future. And so I felt that if I go out there with these individuals, they will respond to Americans and say, now, this person came out here and they trained me boxing. And I can just kind of learn their culture, you know, and kind of study them a little bit because I really didn't know too much about Nigeria. But I slipped. Everybody made mistakes. Ain't nobody perfect. You know?
That's right.
So, you know, even the president, they made mistakes. They don't tell you about it, but they made mistakes. You know, look the degrees they got. You know, Barack Obama made mistakes. You know, he was a senator. But, you know, they're not going to tell you about it. The president, I'm sorry, made mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, there's nobody on this planet that is perfect, that is without spot or wrinkle.
Barack Obama used to be a senator, I'm saying, and he had degrees. He was very smart,
he had
experience, but he made mistakes. So everybody gonna make mistakes. Just because you got a degree, you know, don't let nobody tell you, hey, you know, you made a mistake. You know, of course, everybody make mistakes. When we first started this business, we made mistakes. We hired people we weren't supposed to, but then God took us to a transition. The transition from God was this. It's a part of your story now. So I use it with my advantage with God, and I made it as my story. So, you know, I just want to tell them that, first of all, don't deal with nobody out of the country unless you know they're legit, especially now in this day age of 2021. You don't know what's out there. And don't go to a country without even knowing what's going on in that country, you know, because the pandemic and things like that, people kidnapping people and they're using it for sex trafficking now and stuff. So especially women, I mean, you really got to understand that this world is dangerous now. I mean, you can't even step out without something happening, you know. So I would just inform them, hey, don't talk to people out of the country that you know that they're legit or somebody referred you to them that's a good business person on a higher up status, you know.
So after, you know, all these feds and stuff come to your house and, you know, tell you that, you know, there's been some fraudulent activity, or they called you, did they not, or sent you a letter?
No, they sent me a letter. They sent me a
letter
a year after.
All right. So after that happened, you went on the run.
Yeah, I took off.
So tell us a little bit about why you chose to run from the feds, because I know a lot of people are like, "What? What? Like, that's crazy! Like, you know, they're gonna find you," and because it's not like you were like this person on the 10 most wanted list or anything. But tell me, what was your thought process like? And I know that being a Black man in America had to play a role, especially when they did not take into account that, hey, like, you know, this man is, you know, it doesn't have a record, you know, that he's not engaged in any other type of activity like this, you know, and things of that sort. And just a lot of things were not taken into account. And so tell us a little bit about what was your mindset and what made you make that decision to go on the run, and what was that like?
Well, first of all, I gave him everything he wanted. I gave him the Yahoo information. I gave him the phone number. I gave him everything he wanted for evidence. The mistake I made, I think I made a mistake. I wouldn't call it a mistake. Now I was too arrogant and cocky. like I was young. I was like a Mayweather, young, cocky, arrogant, where I can do no wrong and you can't tell me I did wrong at that time. I'm like, hey man, what degree do you got? I got 2 masters. What do you got? And so he took that into consideration, like, okay, I'm gonna get you on that one. Well, that's why, because you got sound red flags. But to answer your initial question, you just stated, I ran because I was a black man and they did it purposely. Because even though if someone tells me something that's going to make me upset, I'm not going to go tell a grand jury, won't you indict this man? I think he did it because he's black. And I know that's what happened. Because the thing about it is the grand jury is not going to indict you. They would take 30 days or so much time. As soon as he took that report, he turned it in and they did it to the grand jury. It took him a year, 1 whole year to indict me. That's a long time for someone to indict me. Me going to college right now and knowing that's a year. They had to say, hey man, what'd you think? What you think? Let's go ahead and do it. Right. Because he pissed me off. He's saying all this stuff and he a black guy with education. So let's get him. Let's prove to these black people that we still can arrest him. And then being the black person that was involved from Nigeria took the money, really made it worse. Black on black. Right. So
because they really couldn't do anything to the other guy because it's way outside of their jurisdiction. So they have to get somebody.
Yeah. So I ran because I was very, very disappointed in the justice system at that time. And every cop I saw, I used them. I went down to McAllen and I made myself profitable, right? And I got like state troopers to be my bodyguards. I used them. McAllen police officers, I used them because I was upset, but I paid them. But I wanted to get up under them to see what they know because the state is connected to the feds, is connected to. I already knew all the connections, and I knew if I had these people in my pocket, they would tell me stuff. So I was doing things for them that if they told on me, then they would get indicted because it was some things they done. I ain't gonna say it on here. But it was so much stuff going on in McAllen, Texas with these, Hispanics and stuff like that I knew everything. So that's why I had them up under me. And they took me in like a brother and guarded me with their life. But at the same time, they still came and got me. They came and got me. And when they came and got me, as soon as I walked out the door, the first thing I did is seeing these state troopers that was my bodyguards and this Hispanic police officer lady that I was dealing with as well. And they looking at me like, what the heck? Like, we didn't even know. But one of the guys, he looked at me and he shook his head like, yeah, like, I got you, boss. He always called me boss. State troopers call me boss. And so he was sad. And when they threw me on that hot car and it was hot, I said, hey man, it's hot in here. One guy came over there and cut the car on and put the AC on for me. So it was just so much stuff that was going on. But at the same time, they caught me. Unfortunately, I didn't run too long. For 2 years, I was going to go to Brazil after that because at that time, they wouldn't expedite you in a white-collar crime. So,
so how long were you on the run total?
2 years.
2 years? Okay.
2 years.
That's quite some time to be on the run.
Yeah, because I was up on another day.
You said I wasn't on the run that long. 2 years is a long time to be on the run for and to be clear, like during this time, like you had kids, like right? You had kids that you couldn't interact with, that you couldn't see, and things of that sort. So now let me ask you this because I like asking the difficult questions. Did it ever occur to you that, hey, me making this choice is affecting my children in a negative way? I'm not able to be in their life because of this choice that I'm making.
Yeah, it affected me. I was very disappointed in myself, but I felt that if I didn't try to fight in some kind of way in my heart, that was a fighting tool for me to run and say, catch me if you can. I'm going to fight back. I ain't going to just give myself up to you on a piece of bread because what you did to me was wrong. I'm going to let you catch me. I'm going to make it hard for you to catch me. I'm going to get you to spend millions of dollars or whatever the state money, or whatever the feds give you to try to catch me and try to go over here and go over there. And I'm going to trick you. I'm gonna use my education to trick you the way you trick me. That was on my mind. At that time, again, I was arrogant. I wasn't thinking right. But if I just turn myself in, okay, I'm gonna turn myself in, then I'm giving something up that I really believe in. I believe in that I was innocent. So I'm gonna keep running until I'm gonna run until I go somewhere and prove my innocence to you guys. I'm not gonna let you just lock me up and put me in jail without proving myself. And then at that time, I was trying to get people to contact this individual. He called them back. We were trying to figure out where he was at to try to go to Nigeria. And, I did a lot of things to try. That's something didn't come out, but I was trying to prove my innocence. And there's some people that on movies, they ran too. Just like his other guy, it was a true story. They said he murdered his wife, and he said, bump that. He ran from the police until he proved his innocence, and then they got him. They like, you innocent. That's what I tried to do. You see?
Okay, all right, yeah. So I mean, because sometimes the system, let's just be honest, it's not fair. It's unbalanced when it comes to people of color, and so sometimes your only option is to, be your own defense. Right. So you have to get out there and do the work. You know what I'm saying? Do the research and be your own detective. Hey, I do so my own detective. I totally understand that.
I had to be my own detective.
Can we?
So you were caught and went to court. So tell us what happened at that point. You had been on the run for 2 years. You weren't able to see your children. You were finally caught. And you had all the evidence that you needed as well, to prove your innocence. Right. So tell us what happened once they caught you and brought you into court.
Well, first of all, when I was going to Brazil, and when I heard them helicopters and stuff come out, they put me in the car. He took me in, and he looked at me. He says, "You know who I am?" I said, "I know who you are." He said, "I'm Brian Gibson. I'm the person that you tried to get, and like he pushed me, And I knew right then and there I was dealt with. I knew right then and there that he already had his strings attached and things like that. Because at the time, I still called Barack Obama administration, like I stated before, to get these people off me so I could prove my innocence. I was gonna hide in the closet and like, look, I want to talk to the president. I called them and they answered the phone actually, and they talked to the Secret Service and told them what's going on. And they kind of made up this little deal, and this guy was like, I'm gonna come get you. I'm the main guy of the Secret Service. So he found me. And so they just brushed everything under the rug that I gave them. But they was trying, when I went to court, they was trying to give me all this time. I didn't want to fight the justice system because I know if I fight them, they're going to give me more time. So I said, let me plead for this much time. And then they try to go with my guidelines. So, I was like, look, I'm not going to let you do this to me again. I'm not going to let you go with my guidelines and give me like 20 years for something I didn't do. I'm pleading guilty because I know what you guys did to my brothers now when they fought the system. They gave them like 30, 40 years, right? So, okay, I ran, but it wasn't because of this. It wasn't because of that. I gave them everything. So the only thing I had as a weapon was God. I said, I got it. And at that time, when I got incarcerated, I didn't know too much about God. But when I got incarcerated, I learned about him. I would talk to him. I laid on my back, up, always looking in the ceiling and talking to God. And he would tell me, it's going to be okay. And I'm like, man, that's it. It ain't going to be okay. This is too deep. You did this. These are the feds. God said, hey, look here. I deal with the feds too. Right. Just like you. And then when I talked to that attorney, talked to the judge, and it just got quiet. Everybody would talk to him and read papers. He was just like, I don't want to hear it. Here's 20 years. I didn't have no paper. He asked me, anything you want to say before I sentence you, Mr. Nutall? I said, yeah, of course. I went to the podium. I put my hands behind my back, and I spoke to him. 30 minutes passed by. He still didn't shut me down. It was quiet as a church mouse. Even the person that was typing, the lady, she started crying, started tearing up, because I was pleading for my life then. What God was telling me, I don't know a lot of things I didn't say, but I remember saying this. Okay, I'm going to let you judge me just like our Lord Jesus Christ would judge you. And I backed up. And he waited for 2 minutes. I still looking at the clock. And God said, look what I'm doing for you. He was doing the paperwork, looking through the papers, and he said, Mr. Nutall, I don't think you had anything to do with this. So I'm going to drop 2 to 40 charges, and I'm going to release you today. And I turned around, I looked at my attorney, I said,
nothing but God.
Are you serious? And
nothing but God.
You better hurry up before he changed his mind, And so I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. Usually when you take a plea or something like that, man, they don't do that. He said, I don't think you had nothing to do with this. And guess what? I found out. This is something nothing but God that I haven't told you this about, but I'm gonna tell you right now because I'm gonna give you the exclusive. So he told me that as he was looking through these papers, he saw that he dealt with me when I was a kid, when I was 8 years old. My mom sent me to a juvenile home, right? Because she said I was bad, but my brother, they kind of neglected me, so they wanted to give me away. So the juvenile department they didn't catch me. They put me in a home, and I did so good in this home. And at this time, this attorney was a state attorney. He was young, like 20, 21, 26, something like that. And he released me and said, "You're a good kid, and I'm just going to release you and let you go back home to your family." And I was so upset with that. I wanted to stay there with the kids that played with me. They was mixed, Hispanics and whites. That I loved them because my family neglected me. All I was going to do is go back home and get beat up. So why? And I went to the hallway with my bags, and I looked, and I saw my mom. I didn't want to go back to her, and I said, "I'll be bad." And I broke the window, and I started crying because I didn't want to go back home. But that same judge released me. That same judge turned a federal judge, and he saw what happened, but he didn't tell me. He just looked at the.
There's nobody but God. Come full circle. Full circle.
Let me tell you something. Listen, he knew who I was. Because every time the federal do something for you, they get your whole background, your whole life, so they can use it against you. And they say he saw that, and he signed that paperwork. If I wasn't speaking to him like God wanted me to speak to him, he would never look through it. He looked through it, and he stopped, and he looked at me. And he looked again, and that's when he told me, "I don't think you had nothing to do with this mental, but I'm going to charge you with one charge," because they already did 14 months, because I'm a flight risk. If they wouldn't have charged me, then, I could have sued him for, false imprisonment or something like that. But he was like, "I'm just going to charge you with one because maybe you had something to do with it. We really don't know, but you've been in jail 14 months. So just go ahead and take this. I'm going to put you on probation for 3 years, and I'm going to release you today. You can leave." And so he says, any objections from anybody? Everybody was going against me. They's like, "No objections, Your Honor." Because they didn't heard what God said. People was crying. People was quiet. And there was this big guy. He was so huge, big muscle guy. And he knew I was a boxer. He knew about Chris Bird and everything. So I think he was trying to challenge me in there, right? He was going to do 20 years, right? I go back in a holding cell waiting on everybody to come to get in this chain link. He told me, he said, "Hey," I said, "How you doing?" He said, "Listen to me." He said, "Thank you." I said, "For what?" He said, "When you said that speech to that judge," he said, "instead of 20 years, he gave me 5 years. I can go to my family early. Thank you." And at that time, the judge started giving everybody less time and being lenient because of what I stated, right? So God just saying, look what I did as a chain reaction to help not just you, to help that judge understand everybody's problem in there. And
right.
And most of them was black. So, so they released me. I did 3 years federal probation. They released me in 2 because they still didn't believe it. The lady was like, "I still can't believe this. They put this felony on you. I can't get a job now. What I'm going to do?" The boy dropped me. I got a felony for a black man. I'm here. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are back with Paul and Tiffany Nutall, executive producers of Second Chance Saves Lives, coming to Fox TV this fall. And so, Paul, you were telling us about the judge releasing you the day you were in court, right, and dropping all of the charges except for one, and just giving you 3 years probation, and how God definitely moved. Let me tell y'all, people be thinking it's a game when they say that he is a lawyer in the courtroom. Won't he do it? Right. So he is definitely a lawyer in the courtroom, and he will definitely fight for you. Right. So at this point, you are trying to get your life back together. And I know in reading your story, you found yourself getting arrested again, but this time it was for child support, not being able to pay, child support, take care of your children and things of that sort. So I know that as a man, I know you were just probably like, come on, like really, one thing after another.
I would have been paying child support for a long time. And I knew my kids, I couldn't pay it on the run because they would catch me. They would know where the money come from, or where whoever I gave it to, they would go question them. You know where he at? So I couldn't pay it. So on the 2 years I was on the run, I couldn't pay it. Okay. On the 3 years I was on federal probation, I couldn't pay it. So you talking about almost 6 years that I couldn't pay child support for all these kids. So when they said you can't pay child support because we come first as a federal, which I know that for a fact. So when you leave, be careful because you got a warrant for child support. But it turned to a federal warrant because it was over $10,000. Understand, child support is a civil matter case. Anything over $10,000 becomes federal again. So I'm like, look here, man. And she's like, hey, I just got to let you know, I'm going to warn you. I got out of there and I'm driving one day and the state trooper stopped me. And I'm like, man. And I had 2 licenses. I had one from Michigan and one from Texas. So I had 2 of them. He said, give me both of them. And he was a nice guy. You know, he's a nice guy. He's like, listen, they want you for child support. It's a federal child support warrant. And you're a flight risk because you did it with the feds. So listen, they don't want you. I'm going to let you go. It's okay. Came back. He said they want you. I mean, I got expedited on a bus with a whole bunch of people, handcuffed, hands swelled up and ankles swelled up. I'm like, listen, man, y'all, is this really true? Can y'all do this? Can y'all expedite these people like this? He's like, yeah, they dropping people off, picking them up all through the whole world, Washington, D.C.
Really?
Yeah, I'm on the bus. They feed us every morning. They feed us McDonald's, the same thing every morning. And lunch, they go get us some barbecue chicken and all this other stuff. But all it was doing was making you fat, and they would watch you movies, but you still handcuffed. I'm like, listen, man, and you go to the bathroom one at a time. I was sick. Like, my hands are swelled up and stuff. Like, I'm like, oh my God, are you serious? Listen, I got there. They said, do you want to get expedited? I said, no, I don't want to get expedited. I was trying to find the expedition in Texas so they won't take me back to Michigan, right? But I don't know what happened, but they took me from there and they sent me. So they got to Bay City County. They looked at the paperwork. They go, oh, hold on, you're not supposed to come. You fought it. Look, we don't need you. I said, oh, please, lady, please. I don't want to get back on that bus and let them take me back to Texas. I stay here now, please. I begged her. She said, let me see what I can do for you, Mr. Nutall. She went in there and came back. She said, you don't know who I am? I said, nah. She said, I used to work for you for Wolverine, and you fired me. I said, oh, man. She said, what you doing in here? I said, child support. She said, I got a bed for you. So, okay. And they put me off in there. And I stayed in there 6 months. And they tried to put me in prison for that because they tried to get my felony with the feds and then this felony and then try to run it up and all this crime. And I'm like, what? And so Barack Obama just signed something that where people can't go to prison for child support. And so that saved me. And so they were like, well, you go to sit in jail. So I sat in jail. They put me on 5 years probation. I got out. I was homeless. I didn't know where I was going to go. I didn't know what I was going to do. Now I got 2 felonies, on my record. Now what I'm going to do? I'm hit. I kept hearing this God saying, don't worry about it. I got you. You're going to be okay.
Right.
So
listen, God is known to use those and elevate those who come from the mud, okay? From prostitutes, to murderers, to, I mean, you name it, thieves, all of that. So he definitely had his hand on you in all of this. So you were able to start getting your life back in order, were you able to start developing a relationship with your kids and things of that sort?
Well, no, not at the time. I still didn't have a relationship with my kids because they got grown. And then
they kind of each have a story.
I always had one, Dominique, but when I was incarcerated times like that, she didn't call me, write me. But when I got out there, I need something that was different. I was there. I was before. But on the other hand, the other kids, I didn't build a rapport with them as yet because I really I wasn't there for them as a father. See, my father left me when I was 8 years old, and I became just like him, basically having kids and not even paying child support. My dad didn't pay child support, but I did. But I wanted to be in their life. I would bring them down every summer and stuff like that. But when this happened to me, they felt that I was a bad dad. They felt that even their mom would tell them, look, he's in jail. He ain't never going to be nothing. He always going to be in prison. But look what they're doing now. People,
Right.
even my exes, changing their name to Nutall because they want to say, "Oh, I was his ex." You know,
Yeah.
but at the time, you know what's wrong.
Yeah.
They say, yeah, that's a true story. They crazy like that. So,
Yeah.
you know, I got back on my feet. I had $300 to my name. I had called somebody and asked them if I can switch my probation to Texas because I wanted to go back to Texas and get it back started because they knew I was a boxer and stuff like that.
Mhm.
They knew what happened to Chris Burr. So I signed a contract with Fit Aid. This is sports drink. And so I was getting like $3,000 every 2 weeks or something like that. So that kind of put me on my feet and I was saving it. And then from there, I was like, look, I want to get transferred to Hollywood because I knew when I got there, it was going to be a wrap. I knew I was going to get something started. And that's when I started getting all these stars and they started talking about, hey, the man with the black hat is buying up Hollywood, you know. So I had a pimp hat, black hat, you know, like New Edition. I had a suit all the time. And so I started meeting all these individuals like Shanice, Flex, you know, Miguel, Jackie, and everybody just collaborated with me, you know. And I started helping people. John the Group Troop, the whole Troop, Ola Ray, you know, Michael Jackson Drill. I'm helping everybody. So that's how I became very popular in Hollywood, California. And that's when I would start doing reality shows and stuff. And that's how I got back on my feet. And then they called me and told me, hey, you got to come back. Where? Michigan. Why? Because Los Angeles won't take child support. They said that it's like they babysitting. They don't do child support probation. They only do crime probation. And you got to come back. I said, what? I'm not coming back. But this is how God did. I got on my knees and prayed, God, I'm here right now. I'm starting something great. Please don't let me go back. She said, if you don't come back, we're going to have a warrant for your arrest, and we're going to come. We can expedite you. I'm like, again on a bus? Oh, no, please, Jesus. I'm praying to God. I heard him say, it's going to be okay. That lady called me back. She said, listen to me. She said, my supervisor want to talk to you. I get on the phone with him. He says, hi, Paul, how you doing? I said, who is this? He says, his name is Larry something. I forget his name, Garcia or something. He said, you don't remember me? I said, no. He said, you was my FTO officer, field training officer when we was in the gang unit. You don't remember that? I go, oh, yeah. He said, listen, I'm going to drop this probation. That's between Michigan and LA. We ain't going to have nothing to do with it no more. I'm dropping your probation. You done. I said, can you do that?
Listen,
he said, of course I can do
favor
that.
Ain't fair.
Look,
Favor ain't fair.
He dropped that probation, and I was good to go. I said, so they ain't going to come looking for me? He said, nope. He said, only thing will happen, they got to call you, or somebody got to call you. But since we dropped it, it'll be hard for them to bring it back up, and it would have to go through a lot of paperwork and stuff. And I guarantee you'll be okay for a long time. And he was right. Nobody came to my house, nothing. And so I was able to create things, you know, and then make things happen. So
amazing. So you had started this this movement,
correct?
And you met Tiffany,
correct?
So Tiffany, tell us a little bit about how you both met and how did you align yourself with his movement, and because you took this movement to a whole nother level.
Yeah.
So you know, that's what wives are for, to be a helpmeet. You have the vision and she has the means to make it happen.
Right.
So talk a little bit about how you all met and what made you decide to fall in line with his vision, and how did that align with what you were trying to do?
So when Paul first reached out to me, as he stated, he was in the process of trying to get a reality show together, which I think was his first reality show he was trying to. I was actually just joining a pageant at that time when he reached out to me. He said he was putting something together. And of course, I'm always open as an entrepreneur I don't close down doors before God closes them for me. So I was open. And so while I was going through the pageant, the reality show did not start until after my pageant had ended. And so once we got started on that, a lot of drama with the girls happened, a lot of jealousy and envy, and a lot of trying attempts of framing was happening, unfortunately. But the show fell through because one of the girls who was starting the drama, she happened to have something on her record. So because we had filmed everything, it was just dropped. that's when Paul started sharing about Second Chance. I was helping fallen celebrities. And in my mind, I was saying, well, why weren't you doing this to begin with? Helping people over a reality show in my mind. And so I asked him to have dinner. I wanted to talk to him about something very important. And so I shared with him that we should help everybody and not just the fallen celebrities. Because everyone is struggling and everyone needs a helping hand and everyone needs a second chance. And so that's how I felt. And from then on, we moved on to film our pilot episode of our Second Chance. We didn't change it to Second Chance Saves Lives yet until we got to San Antonio, Texas. And then we moved to then our relationship grew as business partners, friends first, business partners. We got to know each other a lot quicker than most relationships because we were working together. Right. And so that grew. He began liking me, would joke around and say, will you marry me? And I said, no, Paul, we're just friends, about 3-4 times. And then so God started intervening in our relationship because I was completely blocking off all attempts, all signs from God he was sending me. And so I'm going to just share a story. I started to search for answers of who would be my husband at the time. He was praying for a wife. I was praying for a husband. And so I called a medium, a love medium, and she said that my husband would be a Leo and I would be married sometime in the end of the year. And my heart dropped because the only Leo was Paul. And that was so close for me, marriage in the end of the year. Like, I'm just looking for my husband, like, marriage. I was like, she's wrong. I call another lady. She's a completely different lady. And she tells me the same thing. She sees marriage with a Leo, but it would never work unless a third party was always involved. And I was just like, third party. And that goes into some spiritual side, which we can get into, and it will come out in the future. But there was a third party. It's not a third person, if anyone's thinking that. It was a third party that was interfering. It was really a spirit. They were feeling a spirit trying to break us apart because God knew if he put us together, we would really create something. And of course, the enemy, for those who are spiritual, that's their main job, to stop it. So that was, to sum it up, the third party that they were both referring to. And so fast forward, I finally knew that God was telling me through other more spiritual events. It wasn't just those two. I knew that Paul was the one, and I just needed to get on board with what God knew was best for me and kind of opening my eyes because it was blinded. And so we moved forward. We got married, came to San Antonio, and we just kind of went full force with Second Chance, created our Second Chance TV shows and production company. Second Chance Saves Lives evolved to Second Chance Saves Lives instead of just Second Chance, and now Forgotten Prisoners and our radio show. And we just, we're just growing and expanding. The more that we can grow and expand, we can help more people and save more lives.
So we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to wrap it up and continue our conversation with Paul and Tiffany Nutall, executive producers of Second Chance Saves Lives. We're going to have them let you all know how to tune in. And they're going to give you some amazing encouragement and tips about the lessons that they've learned through all of this. So stick and stay. We'll be right back. And we are back. So I think that you all's story is so awesome. I mean, because I am definitely a believer. God has definitely been my everything through my entire life, and it's just so awesome when I can see with your spiritual eye when people are talking and telling their testimony where God was in all of that, and to see how his plan comes together. And I mean, look at you now. Both of you are now executive producers of a great TV show that is also ministering to other people and helping people. And it's coming to a major network. And I say this all the time, that, you two are definitely what people call a power couple, but a lot of people consider power couples a couple who just, has a lot of money, they own a business and things of that sort. But to me, if you don't have God, and you cannot move mountains or overcome things without the word of God or speaking a word, fasting and praying. You have no power. Right. Without him, you don't have any power. So, yes, I absolutely love it. So now that you all are, you've done your pilot show, you have been accepted to, air this on Fox TV. So tell us, first, before you get into that, tell us what lessons can you share with the viewers that you took away from your experiences? Because I'm pretty sure outside of your individual experiences and your challenges with building this company, there's also been some challenges together, I'm pretty sure, in your relationship, marriage, and things of that sort. So just tell the viewers a little bit about some of the lessons that you learned along this journey and what it's like to now be actually living out your purpose and your dream, and really the purpose that God had for the both of you.
I believe one of the things that is great advice for just any person trying to follow their dreams and open a business, for instance, is really to expect that there will be people close to you that won't agree with your vision, that won't support your vision, and you have to take that as, or expect it as you progress, because the more successful, the more stronger that becomes. And to really remember that when it does happen, to not let that push you down in spirit, but to really just know already, okay, I knew this was going to happen, and I just need to push through and still follow my own destiny and my own path, regardless of what they say or what they're trying to have me do. Because a lot of times kids are grown up to be told what they should be for some families. And a lot of times they grow up because they are close with their parents, they do follow that. And they become something that God didn't make them to become. And then that leads to being bitter or miserable or not knowing, just feeling hopeless or just unhappy in general. And so that's something that I'd like to share for any person just aspiring to find their passion and, be great at whatever they want to do, is to follow your own path and make sure that you don't have influences affecting your decision or what you want to do. Follow your heart.
Yeah. Another example, I like to state that always put God first. I mean, a lot of times when I first started, I really didn't put God first. I always felt that it happened to me because I made it happen. I never thought about God. I knew who he was, and I prayed, not so much of now. God just want to be in your life. He wants to let him be in the driver's seat, not you. He don't want you to take over your life. He wants to take over your life. If you have something, the thing about this is took us a long time. But right now, we can look back and say, oh, it was easy. But it wasn't easy. Now that we hear now, we can say it's easy. But it wasn't easy. I mean, it was hard. But we had to be patient. That's the thing that I had a hard time doing, being patient. Because if I wanted it, hey, I want to get it now. And that was me. I had to understand that about business. I ran the business, but understand this is your own business now. You have to bring people, just like I didn't have this job at Wolverine for nothing. I didn't have employees up under me for nothing. All these things came to a factor when I came to my dream, what God wanted me to do at Second Chance. I had to hire good employees, and then you gonna make mistakes in life. I mean, we made mistakes by hiring individuals that gossip a lot, people that say too many things, and if they gossip about someone else, they're gonna gossip about you. We just running everywhere to try to get this thing started without even thinking that, hey, this is our thing. This is what God wants us to do. We got to have people in the right position, and we got to have good people, good quality people to do these good quality things for us to become successful and as leaders. So if you want to be a leader and you're an entrepreneur, first of all, you got to put your mind on God. You got to let him run it. I mean, even though you waiting, it's a reason for everything. Everything is done for a reason. Like everything is done for me for a reason. I'm thinking like, God, man, I got 2 felonies now and all this going on. What am I going to do? He's like, I got plans for you. And now everything circles around and turns into a story. Now they go, oh, we love your story. We want to do a documentary. Now we got big time people coming down and do things for me. I'm thinking, man, God, is this your plan? You know, because he got plans for you, but you just got to listen to him. I didn't have to do it. I could just like, I'm going to go ahead and be homeless. I'm going to just sleep on the sidewalk. Or I'm going to do this and that. And God said, no, you're a fighter. You know what you got to do. I'm not going to tell you what to do. Do what you got to do. And I did what I had to do. But then he approves it because he knew what you was going to do anyway when you was born. So he approved it and forgave you anyway because Jesus Christ died for our sins. So he got mercy and gave me grace. And he gave me a beautiful wife that I prayed for. At the same time, we were both praying. I just want to tell everybody out there, like, don't give up on yourself. Put people in your life that's Christians and people that's in your life that's not going to, like, have rumors or gossip and stuff like that. Because if they gossiping to you, just say, I don't want to be your friend. Because they gossiping to you about somebody else, you best believe they're going to gossip about somebody else to you. You know, so
right. Exactly.
That's the way life is. They're going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't need these people in your life. If somebody that's a business person, they saying, listen, you know, I don't gossip or nothing, but I'm just good. Them the people you need in your life. Because then if you think about it, life is what you make of it. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
You look in your mirror, the responsibility is yours. God gives you a will. You can do it or you don't do it. And at the same time, you with these people, you got to have a good floor mat. A very good floor mat. If you don't have that floor mat, I don't care what it is. Boyfriends, ex-people, you don't bring it to your job. And not only that, your mind process, you think a lot. When you start thinking a lot, it messes you up. And then you try to go to someone else to talk to somebody else. And then they just know you want to know your business so they can tell somebody else about your business. You know, so it's a lot of times God just say, be quiet.
Yep.
Let me take care of it. I'm going to tell you what to do. And they're just going to do it. Yeah. So
I mean, that is awesome. I hope that you all are listening. And it's very important too, I believe, for people to know who your favor is tied to.
That's right.
You don't ever want to mistreat those who God has sent to help you along the way, because that's his favor and his grace. And if you do, there's no guarantee that it's going to be coming back around.
It might come back around, but it'll be a long time.
Oh yeah. And you will find yourself taking the same test over and over again. And every single time it's going to get harder and harder.
Right.
So definitely. Well, Paul and Tiffany, I want to thank you so much for being my guests on today. Thank you so much also for being transparent. A lot of, celebrities some celebrities, I would say, like to be, I'll say, quiet when it comes to their personal lives, and want to be private. And that's fine, because I understand being in the light a lot. But I think that sharing some of those important things that you've gone through to help other people, because a lot of people look up to celebrities or see them as, that's what I want to aspire to. But, you also see a lot of celebrities out here that are struggling. They have a lot of money, but, they're still addicted to drugs or, in and out of jail or whatever the case may be. And so I think it's very important, too, that you all are, even though that you all have a lot of connections, in Hollywood, you work with celebrities, that you yourselves, are celebrities, even though you work behind the scenes. I think it's very important for people to understand that you are people, too, and you have a story, you have a testimony, and you have some lessons that can help people. And, there's more to your name, than just fame. So
it is, because, like you said, they won't find out, like you said, until they're on drugs and they go, I had a drug problem. Well, we didn't know that. You should have came out and told us at the beginning. Like Eminem said, I'm going to tell you everything right now about me that you don't know about.
Oh, yeah.
That's what we do. So when something come out, Paul this, this lady wrote this.
It's not a shock.
I didn't say the whole 9 yards before it even started, so you know.
Right. Exactly. So thank you again so much for being my guest. I really, really appreciate it. I've enjoyed this time with you both, and I'm pretty sure our, listeners, viewers have as well.
So again, thank you for joining me today and tuning in to the 𝐼mPossible radio show with your girl, Lady J, right here on JQLM Radio, a division of Ego Entertainment Network. And before I go, as I always say, after all of the hell you went through, the word through is an indication that you defeated the impossible too. New adversities will come, but overcoming them has already made you unstoppable. The favor over your life incomparable, which gives you the right to think and believe 𝐼mPossible.